In Winterfell, as we continue the second part of the pilot, a Baratheon Knight reports to duty to Sansa Stark, Queen of the North, long after now the White Walker War is over. Your Grace, I am here reporting to you because you are short of forces until you find some good men to take place of those who gave their lives during the White Walker War. And you were sent by who? Lord Gendry Baratheon. But before she can respond, one of the men from the Men Without Banners arrives. Your Grace, yes, one moment, Sir Knight. Yes, go ahead. We have done the inspection of the damages, and actually Winterfell doesn't seem to be that bad. We imagine that we could probably get most of the repairs done. Some of the more not so, well, they're more like fine detailed work is something that you could probably have your what men have survived the White Walker War take care of, but we can get most of the repairs of the outside of the castle and the walls repaired. Very good then. Shall we go ahead and commence? Yes, by all means. Thank you, Your Grace. So he then leaves. So you were saying, well, I have been assigned to you until such time that you get trained men to take over to rebuild your forces since the White Walker War. I'm surprised that Lord Gendry would decided to do this, but nevertheless, if you see him, extend to him my courtesies and gratitude for him sending you. Yes, Your Grace. I was told that I am to follow any orders that you give, so I await any instructions that you may have at this time. Well, you can be posted by the doors, so that way we know who is coming to visit and who is not. Not that I would expect to be assassinated in such a manner, like at the Red Wedding, as my brother King Robb was at Frey's House of Frey. Yes, Your Grace. I will go ahead and tend to those duties immediately. Thank you, and it is nice meeting you, although I didn't catch your name, but I'm sure we can get to know each other better eventually. You can join us for our supper tonight. Thank you, Your Grace. I would be honored. So with that, he goes out of the room to stand his guard as instructed. At the secret location of one and only one Targaryen temple, since many of them had been destroyed by the Faith of the Seven so long ago, especially at one point in time a smaller temple over in Essos, being charged by a High Septon with a crystal crown until he was slain by a guard, is discovered by Kinvara, who is looking for someone not of the Faith of Seven, but someone of a special faith that is suitable for Daenerys Targaryen. Because, after all, she has to confess her sins and realize the mistake she made when she tried to do a exact a war upon vengeance of Missandei being beheaded by a monstrous soldier created by the now deceased Queen Cersei, and so she is then stopped short by a guard. You're no high priest of this temple. Perhaps you've gotten lost. I am Kinvara of the Temple of R'hllor. Yes, well, this is not Temple R'hllor. Perhaps we need to show you the way out so you can be on your way. I'll take care of this. So this other lady warrior starts moving forward. Halt! Then she stops, looks towards the High Priestess, all dressed in white, with a spectacular arraignment shaped into that of a black crown. Please, ladies, good job on your duty of protecting this temple. You'll have to forgive them, but we don't take kindly to people just wandering into our temple unexpected and unannounced. My apologies. I am High Priestess Kinvara. Well then, Kinvara, High Priestess, ye say you're from the Temple of R'hllor. Yes. I am High Priestess Magon of this last known ancient Targaryen faith temple. And while we have now got our pleasantries out of the way, I would like to know what brings you most unexpectedly to this temple. I'm sure it's not to confess your sins or to be converted. No, we still have a strong faith in the Lord of Light. Well, we believe in one Lord as well, but not of the same as you, for ours is the fire of Phoenix. We believe in one God, though we do have lower gods and goddesses. Some might call them angelic beings, although I'm not sure what that is. But that is the faith that we keep. So if you're not here to confess your sins or be converted, what brings you to our temple, High Priestess Kinvara? Well, High Priestess Magon, I am here because there is a special task that's about to come about. One who will be confessing their sins, but will need to do something extra because she is Targaryen. And then the High Priestess, dressed in white, holds up her hand. Unlike you, Kinvara, I have certain visions that I see, and I believe that what you are about to attempt could be a sin in itself, because usually one who is deceased is not raised from the dead. Is that what you are attempting to do? No, not exactly. But I do believe she left before her time, and one who she trusted and shown much affection for. She wanted to, well, liberate certain kingdoms, but the one that she had shown affection for kind of must have saw something in the worst of light of what she had done, because she, well, killed men, women, and children after her friend Missandei was beheaded by the evil queen Cersei Lannister. Yes, I do recall something of this having reached my ears, and yet it was surprising because usually Targaryens do not act in such ways. Well, there will be someone performing the task of this resurrection. Besides, no one seemed to complain when my priestess, before she died, at the time of the end, or after the White Walker War, Melisandre, rose Jon Snow from the dead. So why should it be any different, even though 5 years has already passed since her death? I have no idea where Drogon took her, but it has been 5 years, and she was brought to me by Drogon. So 5 years ago, I had her stored in a place that, well, came most unexpectedly, as you would say, from nowhere, that shouldn't have existed. Yes, beware, Kinvara, of where I think you are referring to, for that is an ancient evil that should never be awakened. If you can successfully raise her without waking that evil, then so be it. So you intend to bring Daenerys Stormborn Targaryen, the breaker of chains, the unburnt, back from the dead. As I said, High Priestess Magon, no, it is not I. But I do know of one who has served well, and instead of getting promoted to that of High Priest Lord of the Temple of R'hllor, he has a new task, one of secret society. He will do that which only he has the knowledge and skills to do, although he will have to review some of these ancient things that require him to successfully get this task done. After all, Jon Snow, who finally learned of his identity, is only half Targaryen and half Stark. Daenerys, on the other hand, is a pureblood. This requires a little more task and skills and effort, which not even Melisandre, should she have lived, been able to do. Merely washing a Dragon Queen's hair does not bring her back to life. I find myself for the first time amused. No one has ever got me to laugh in a little bit here, but it would seem to me, though you are a high priestess, you're a bit naive on this. Yes, it is true, but you do know that people who start using things that are banished in the laws since the time of the Valaerian Doom are, as far as I know, are still in effect, are burned at the stake, and points at Kinvara. Yes, but I won't be doing the task, and if he should fail, then I am, according to the kingdom's laws, not held accountable. You have done your research well, High Priestess Kinvara. So, you wish to have, when she is risen, if she confesses her sins, to go through the baptismal waters of reconciliation and re-drink the holy waters which only we possess in our faith of reclamation. Yes, if believe it would be a proper thing to do, since she is a pureblood. Very well, but how do you know she's going to be the same when she rises? Well, we have some theories that she may be stronger than 3 women and stronger than 2 men. Not put together, of course, because of being dead for so long, since the time I had her shipped off to this unknown castle beyond the wall. But we'll make sure that her memories are intact, and she will be somewhat controlled in case she comes out something else. Well, you do know slaving a Dragon Queen is also not in your best interest. No, but if she shows promise, this collar of control and obedience would be removed. Very well then. You may leave because, as my captain of the guards, Lord Commander of the Targaryen faith militants, said, you are not one of us. Next time, you should schedule an appointment, and I would be more than happy to discuss things with you, so long as I don't find them offensive or trying to change our ways. The High Septon failed many years when he destroyed many of our elaborate temples, as you see here, and we are not about to change now. Well, out of due respect, High Priestess Megan, I will not even attempt to change your ways, and I am not with those Faith of the Seven either. So, with the mutual understanding then, she motions for her other priestess, usually a greeter, there if a proper appointment would have been made, to usher her out. Well, I must say that was very bold of you to make such an appearance. Kinvara, is it? Yes. Well, if you should wish to visit us, as you heard our High Priestess say, please do so, but make sure you make yourself announced next time. We wouldn't want to think you're with someone else or another faction, and, well, you know how that might turn out. you wouldn't be leaving here alive. Yes, I shall remember that next time. Until we meet again, I wish you and your High Priestess very well, in good health. As to you, High Priestess Kinvara. And so then she takes her leave. At House Frey, Robert Frey, who is an heir to Stephen the Sweet Frey, who is currently now the king and in command of House Frey, is called before in the room, and he reports to the trusted advisor. You summon me? Yes. I believe there's a task that you need to pass on to the others in regards to some old debts that need to be collected or long overdue. He will explain the rest. So with that then, he looks intently as Stephen the Sweet then steps forward. As you may know, we have a great task at hand. Has not been since the time of Old Walder Frey that our house has taken on a much blemished and tarnished history because of Old Walder Frey. And I can speak freely now, not because I was afraid of it before, but because I believe he was getting feeble-minded and didn't think things through when he decided to kill King of the North, Robb Stark, and his pregnant wife, and the mother, during what they called a red wedding. It is so preposterous and so stupid that Walder Frey brought on his own demise when one who bore the look of one of his own daughters was actually in fact a wolf in sheep's clothing, although that might sound like a pun. So he has sown the rewards of his own indecisions and feeble-mindedness of his fate. So what task would you have of me, your grace? I want you to inform all those who are still family members and in the living that obviously did not have any connection to the Red Wedding, that the old debts that are long overdue to rebuild our house need to be collected. I'm pretty certain that nobody's going to raise a stink about this since they know they owe the debt. And regardless of whether they want to pay or not because of what happened to King Robb Stark, they will pay. Do you understand? Yes, by any means necessary. Exactly. However, I don't expect any to push it that far to where we would have to get into a war to collect the debt. Yes, and what of Big Walder Frey? His brother was killed long ago. Yes, and as for him, although he has had wild notions about grave robbing, inform him that he is to take 3 or 4 bastard companions, that he seems to have some fascination of hanging out with them. I guess it's understandable since his brother Little Walder had been killed. We do not rob graves for any type of treasure. And make sure he understands that I meant that is being quite clear. Grave robbing will not only bring a curse upon himself, but we don't need any more curses upon our house since the day of the Red Wedding and Old Walder Frey met his demise. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes, I will make sure they understand your orders explicitly. Good. That is all I need. They are to depart as soon as possible. Yes, your grace. I will take care of this right now. And so he bows and takes his leave. The advisor then, being curious, comes up to Stephen the Sweet Frey to find out if this is something that they can actually accomplish. So you think that they will follow through? Robert I have no problem with. After all, he is an heir if something were to happen to me. And as to the others, I do trust that they will understand my orders completely. I don't see anything in the future, although I am not a visionary, but I would be hopeful that once we collect our debts, the strength of House Frey can once again be built in the glory that it once held. And so with that ends the meeting of collecting old debts. Back at the house or temple of Rolar, Thaddeus, who is an apprentice but not yet officially initiated to wear a red and black robe, makes his way towards the direction of the room of the High Priestess Kinvara. Dark Shadow then stops him in his tracks. And where do you think you're going? Apprentice Thaddeus. Well, I have come back bearing a gift that I believe High Priestess Kinvara might find to work, if I heard the rumor correctly, of rising Queen Daenerys would come to be a benefit. Really. And you should not be listening to wild rumors. After all, you're not even a full-fledged bloodlord yet. Anything you hear is not to be spoken of, even if it's a rumor. You understand? Yes, I understand what keeping secrets is. And I will not say a word. Good. Very well then, you may proceed. If she is expecting you, then she'll let you in. So he goes forward and then clears his throat as soon as he gets to the door. Oh, yes, Thaddeus. Please do come in. I have completed a special task that I thought, of my own accord, that perhaps would prove my worthiness. Well, you need to prove that to High Priest Lord Daemion. I am High Priestess Kinvara of the Temple of Rolar. And so what is it that you bear that you think would be useful for our secret mission? So he pulls out first a golden egg. Well, where in the world did you come up with that? Well, I thought that perhaps I'd see if I could find Drogon somewhere, and apparently he's met another dragon, a wild one, kind of purplish in color, and well, I think he's gotten himself a mate. And so you got one egg? Like, how in the world did you get this? Well, I had to be very quiet, and since I kind of blended in with the sand wearing my robe, I guess they didn't quite notice I was able to steal one. But then I thought a moment, well, Queen Daenerys had 3 dragons, didn't she? That is true. So I thought perhaps I'd try my luck, and I was able to come up with 2 more. So then he pulls out 2 more eggs. My, Thaddeus, you have done well for yourself. And yes, I do believe these will come in handy when the time comes. I am very pleased to see that you would risk your life stealing eggs from a nest that, if they would have known it, you wouldn't be here talking to me right now. You'd most likely be their snack. Yeah, well, it was a scary moment for me as well. So, how goes your attempt to present yourself as an apprentice to being a new member of the future secret society that I have decided to form and put High Priest Lord Daemion in charge of? Well, every time I try to talk to him, he always seems like he's annoyed when I show up, and I don't know if he likes me. Oh, come now, Thaddeus. Remember, perseverance is a virtue. You can't get anywhere in life unless you don't continue to persist. Well, I don't know. Look, Thaddeus, perhaps maybe if I put in a good word for you and seeing how these 3 eggs you did come up with by risking your own life, maybe he would, if I talked to him, consider you as an eligible apprentice to become a first-time new youngest member of a secret society of, well, she looks towards Dark Shadow. What do you think, Dark Shadow? Well, we kind of had several names in mind, but then we kind of thought of something, well, he hands her kind of like a canvas type painting, something we thought would be appropriate for our secret society, since it'll be the first of its kind. So this is your design. She looks it over. Fire and Blood. Is that going to be our new secret society name? Yes, that is, I believe it will be. And you would be the first youngest member to join. After I talk to High Priest Lord Daemion and convince him that it would be useful for you to be in attendance when we rise the Dragon Queen. So, what kind of attendance would I be doing? Well, since you already know about keeping secrets, I think it is best that me, that is, and High Priest Lord Daemion discuss this first, and then he will call you in and let you know. Wow, that would be exciting. I appreciate that, High Priestess Kinvara. Once he accepts you, you do realize that there is no backing out. To be one of a secret society means you tell nobody nothing, and you don't just merely up and quit if things get a little tough. Yes, I understand. Then she looks towards Dark Shadow. He will become a very useful person in the task that we have yet to put together. Don't you think, Dark Shadow? Yes. Did I say or do something funny? No. High Priest Lord Daemion, he will understand, and he will know what this special usefulness you will have. But it is not for me to say. I don't want to undermine the authority of my future Lord and High Priest. He will explain everything to you. Very well, then. Well, Thaddeus, why don't you go ahead and take this robe? She hands him a black robe trimmed in red. But don't put it on as of yet. When the time comes, I will have Dark Shadow go fetch you, and you put on the robe so you can make a good appearance when the time is right. Wow. All right. I shall go ahead and do that. Thank you, High Priestess Kinvara. So he kind of leaves, not knowing what his future secret usefulness is yet to be. What an idiot. I didn't think he was going to be so gullible. Now, remember, we shouldn't speak too loudly. We wouldn't want to scare him off, after all. If I'm right, it takes a sacrifice to bring someone of pure blood back to life. Yes, that is true. Well, I shall not be too overjoyous about this. He has, well, been rather a pain in the bum, but, well, we will see what happens when High Priest Lord and you have your discussion on the upcoming plans of rising the Dragon Queen from her long 5-year sleep of death. Yes, and the Lord of Light has shown me the things that need to be covered and the certain steps that need to be done. And so with that, then, she goes back to meditating over the bowl of fire for meditating with the Lord of Light. At Castle Black, as Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, Jon Snow, who is actually Aegon VII, walks back towards Castle Black on the wall with those he chose of a particular 4 rangers to travel with him and do certain tasks, complete their inspections. They finally then come to the elevator, but stop to catch a breather after a long walk back from the broken part that is almost finished completion, Eastwatch by the Sea. Well, that was quite the long walk, although it's very cold up here. Yeah, well, you better get used to it. Even though the White Walker's War is over, it's going to get much colder. I suppose you're right. So, if I'm in charge, does that mean then I would pass on to the other 3 that you have chosen to they understand explicitly things that you require of them? Exactly. You would be, well, since we don't do titles, kind of like the second command. Benjen Stark, Ned Stark's younger brother, was kind of like that when our Lord Commander, before he got betrayed by other men of the Night's Watch, was his second command. So, now you are. Very well then, I shall live up to my duties and do my best to make sure any orders you pass to me to pass on to them are understood correctly. So they stare out in the darkness, warming their hands over a flame, and see that much fog and everything is blowing as it is starting to become like a gusty, snowy windstorm. Oh, I wonder what that is. Lord Commander kind of notices something. Did you see that? Wait a minute. Oh, yeah, there it is again. And they see something twinkling in the dark, but not sure what it is. I wonder what that is. You don't think it's more White Walkers, do you? No, we destroyed the Night King, and as we had theorized at the time during the White Walker War, if you kill him, all the others die automatically. No, this has got to be something else. Something unseen. And this is the first time I've noticed something that strange. But it's more like, as we face outward, it's more like not going true north, but off to slightly to the right in a low dark area. And so they continue watching, trying to figure out what it may be. Well, we have to finish the repairs of the wall by the East Watch by the Sea. Eventually, we are going to have to do some ranging, since I am now back being Lord Commander of the Night's Watch again. We might as well get the other 3 and any others that we have back used to going beyond the wall. All fears of White Walkers should be long since over, and there's nothing to fear beyond the wall now. That is true. Well, when the time comes, I look forward to seeing what we can find. Yes, as do I. Because I don't recall anything that would do some kind of light. I'm not sure if it's a reflection from the moonlight or what's going on, but it sure is strange that for some reason that twinkling is coming off in a low, dark area. And so with that, they continue to watch and ponder at the sight that suddenly had become a spectacle of itself. At the Temple of R'hllor, Kinvara even sent out ravens, and, much to a surprise, the 2 people that she had summoned is a wet nurse that she had chose in particular, and a swordsman highly skilled in training people how to use swords. They finally make their appearance. Well, I am glad to see you two have gotten my message. I have called you both here for a reason. Let me start with you. Yes, I got your message, but I don't think you're pregnant. Forgive me for noticing. High Priestess Kinvara? Yes. And no, I am not pregnant. I am not allowed to marry, although in our temple, it does not mean I cannot, well, enjoy certain pleasures of those I choose. But we're not here to discuss about my affairs. We're here to discuss about your future plans. My future plans? Yes. I cannot tell you because you are, well, based on how you're dressed, you're not exactly worthy enough of the mission that we're on. But you may come to find out, and I don't know if you've heard about what happened to Queen Daenerys. She's not gone permanently. She will return. And I believe at one point in time she had some kind of relations with her nephew. She may even have conceived with him, which means she will be having a girl or possibly a boy. It's hard to say at this time. For I do believe we'll just leave it at that she will be expecting. I see. So you wish to hire my services for when she gives birth to this baby, who would be, I believe, an heir to the Iron Throne. Yes, but remember, Drogon melted that, so it no longer exists, but she still has rightful claim to the Red Keep. Oh, okay. So, what would I, other than the obvious, be doing? You would be caring for Daenerys' newborn child. That is all you need to know. Can you keep this to yourself in our discussion, and I will pay you to look after her child when she gives birth? Yes, of course, I will not say a word to anyone. Good. Then, I do know, then I don't need to mention it to you. What happens to those who lose tongues? Yes, well, I don't intend to lose mine, as my tongue can be skilled for the men that seek my company, so I don't think you have to worry, High Priestess Kinvara. My tongue will stay in this mouth, and my mouth will be closed. That is good to hear from you. Very well, then. You are now dismissed. Thank you, High Priestess Kinvara. So she takes her leave. Well, that went rather well. Could have sworn that she wasn't exactly the best pick. And why would you doubt my judgment? Oh, no reason. Just thought that maybe someone with a little higher caliber and stature would have been more appropriate, but I guess if you need a wet nurse, you must have picked a really good one. I think so myself. Then, one of the bloodlords, who goes by the strange name of Coagulation, but CAG for short, comes up beside Darkshadow. You summoned me. Yes, and Dirkmeyer, sorry to keep you waiting. Not at all. High Priestess Kinvara. Yes, well, just call me Kinvara for right now. Okay, as you wish. Kang will be serving Darkshadow as his assistant for a mission that we're on. As I had told the wet nurse, Daenerys is not gone, in spite of what you may have heard. The realm sometimes likes to overstretch things a bit, maybe even tell tall tales about how a dragon queen is betrayed by her nephew and stabbed in the chest, and a dragon flies off with her body. Well, I was kind of beginning to wonder, since I did hear something like that. Well, the realm can't get along without having some form of gossip. She kind of says with a smile, knowing the truth. But I believe that Queen Daenerys should no longer be a pushover, and since in the past, if anyone studies the annals, kings were very good of House Targaryen with swords, so why should it be any different for a queen? I do believe that even Queen Rhaenyra, during the Dragon Civil War, was able to use a sword at some point in one way or another. And so I was wondering if you could keep our conversation a secret. I will pay you for your services. And you train her to use a Valaerian steel sword, which will be specially designed for her. I'm not sure what she'll call it, because usually a Valaerian sword will get a special name. But I kind of got from the Rolar, the Lord of Light, she may want to call her sword with a name Queen's Justice. That would be an interesting sword. Yes. So would you be up for the task when I call upon you, and that's when I'm ready, to initiate some type of swordsmanship skill training for her? Maybe not so much to be an attacker, but if one was foolish enough to get past 3 new dragons that I believe she'll be acquiring soon, she would need a way of defending herself. Well, my lord told me that whenever a client hires us, privacy and discretion is always in the better part of valor. I am sworn by that oath that no matter who hires me, I'm not allowed to discuss their name or who hires us, and to do my duty of giving them training and skill. Good to hear. You sound very much a professional indeed. Well then, that is all I needed of you. You may go. Thank you, High Priestess Kinvara. So then he leaves. Well, I will admit, High Priestess Kinvara, he was, compared to the last one, a better pig, but then he can't breastfeed a baby. Yes, and maybe you should leave the japes and jokes to the short man Tyrion. Yeah, well. In any case, is there anything else you need of us? No. Keg understands, I'm sure, without saying a word, that he is to be your assistant and follow your instructions, as you will be the assistant to High Priest Lord Daemion. Yes, we will get along quite well, and we will both follow any orders given by High Priest Lord Daemion. So they both then take their leave. Back at House Frey, Robert Frey, then, after having covered the orders by Stephen the Sweet Frey with the other siblings of various wives that Old Walder Frey had once been married to, and are basically half brothers and sisters, except for certain ones that might be bastards, finally get ready to do their duty and depart for collecting the debts. The advisor then makes his appearance with the Lord Commander of the Frey Guard. Hold up, everybody. There's something that I guess everyone needs to know. As you all know, from what Robert Frey has told you, this is not an unusual task or mission. It is quite simple. You collect the debts, and you bring them back here, and you will turn it in to this Frey Lord here. You will turn it in to me, and I will take in the count. So he looks at each one. You will go off to the kingdoms of the west. Then looks at the next one. You, well, I suppose you already know what needs to be done. Yes, well, my companions here will be going with me, but we look forward to doing this mission well. Yes, and I'm sure you remember, no grave robbing. You would have to answer to the man once you come back if you do the opposite, and something else should be following along. Not that we would have to worry about curses coming here. But grave robbing is considered to be a curse to the dead, and they will curse you back. Understood. So then it goes on to the next one. You two will take to the kingdoms of the south. When you're done, you will bring your chests of gold, silver, and coppers to me for counting. All chests then shall be brought to you, and what do we do when we bring them back? Yeah, it will be decided by our King Lord Stephen the Sweet. Frey. Understood. You won't be going anywhere. Oh, really? Just because I am a woman of virtue, and not to mention a widower 3 times, I don't get to go on anything exciting. For you, it won't be exciting. Then again, we all know about your curiosities. He didn't want you sent out to having your jollies with the men of the kingdom. He wants the debts collected. Well, whatever. I can't understand why we women have to always sit on the sidelines and just do our needlework and meditations. Exactly. That's a good job for you. Then, before you say another word, moves on to the next one. You will go to the kingdoms of the east and collect the debts from there. And then, after he's done, looks at them all. I wish you the very best. Good hunting, good debt collecting. And remember, no grave robbing. Do not bring a curse on yourself. For if you are cursed, you may end up banished from House Frey. And so with that, he disappears, and everybody else goes out the front door. Finally, at House Rolar, with everything all being prepared, Kinvara finally says a few words to Kag, the Blood Lord, leader of all other Blood Lords, and his Priest Lord, of whom he answers to, Darkshadow. Well then, I believe we have everything set and ready. You two know what you need to do. They nod both in agreement. Very well then. Kag, you, remember, are in charge of the Blood Lords. They must obey what you tell them, as you would obey what Darkshadow here tells you. Darkshadow already knows that he is committed to obeying anything that High Priest Lord Daemion tells him. Yes, well, we look forward to this mission. And what of this one that is the apprentice? That is not for you to be concerned about. You will learn about this soon enough. Both her and Darkshadow seem to have a slight grin about this. Darkshadow, you are a man of worthiness. I know that as second in command to High Priest Lord Daemion, not that I would expect anything to befall either of you, at this strange castle that has appeared from nowhere beyond the wall. But I take it that you will also note that we took the liberty of having a temple built in the honor of the first ever secret society known as Fire and Blood. Then she shows a painting that was made. This temple will be your temple, and I would expect High Priest Lord then he will follow instructions that I give him. So, do you have any questions as to what should be done at this point in time? Not that I can think of, and we do appreciate having a temple of our own. So, I believe that now is the time to prepare to bring the dead queen back. Yes, and you might want to remember, this is no laughing matter, for this is going to become real. And then she looks towards the pot of fire. The Lord of Light has shown me Now is the time for the rise and the return of the Dragon Queen. You may both be dismissed. And Darkshadow, summon High Priest Lord Daemion to my chambers. And so with that, they both leave. And this ends the pilot of the series Rise and Return of the Dragon Queen.
Drakari pikiros Tekumo gemiros In lantis Bartosa Saelot Vaidis Henyaha Eleni Pertisi Vestretis Sekeli Irudax Anoblose Pertiro Utrisi Etzimtos Laihosi Harosa Ledagon Aotvaheda Haimerot Giruli Seharos Bartos